So India will host the first ever World Tour Super 70 tournament, and to kickstart the event in Delhi, we have none other than the legend himself, the chief coach of the Indian team, Pullela Gopichand. Gopi sir, first of all, this event, first time in India, World Tour Super 70 tournament. How does this signify this rising stature of Indian badminton in the world calendar?
I think for us to host this level of a tournament is really important because as a nation we have done very well over the last few years to get to the stage where we have medals at all major events. To cap it all off, to have won the Thomas Cup last year makes India really a country which is big enough and strong enough in the badminton world to host a big tournament. And the progression from the Tour 500, which was held last few years, to now the Tour 750 is, I think, a very important step to ensure that India's rise in the badminton standards is coming together with the rise of the tournament, the India Open in Delhi.
And sir, how important is it for India to keep hosting such a tournament of greater prominence in a bit to bolster the badminton ecosystem in the country?
I think from one side, I think it's important that you have the players play at home on home advantage. I think that's one area which is definitely an advantage to have. Also, the fact that younger players get to watch and people get to watch our own players play against the best in the world. And our press and media also reports that. I think this opportunity is there only when you host big events. And definitely, I think with entry levels of each, because it's a top 32 event, with entry levels of each event being high, to have multiple players in each of these events definitely has an interest for Indian badminton players as well as fans across the country.
Absolutely, sir. And sir, although India didn't win anything in the Malaysia Open, what were the major takeaways for you, or the positives we can say from the event?
I think it's the beginning of the year after a layoff. I think some of them haven't played for a month and a half. Some of the players like Sindhu have come back onto the circuit after a 3 to 4 month break. So it's I don't think there's too much of a concern in that area, but definitely Satwik-Chirag's performance, Pranoy's performance, I would say have been very good. And I think it's been a very positive start from their side for the tournament.
Absolutely, sir. And all eyes were on PV Sindhu as well. Her returning event, that Malaysia Open was, although facing Carolina Marin was obviously going to be a challenging task. But how far do you think is she lagging behind in terms of her peak performances?
Well, I think it's after you have 3 to 4 months of break. It's almost break after the Commonwealth Games, which was in September. So October, November, December, almost like about 4 good months. I think it'll take time for you to come back onto the circuit and be very sharp in the first match. But I'm sure with the experience she has and with the potential she has, she definitely will come back strongly, and I'm expecting her to do well at the India Open here.
Sir, we all know that you are the real guru of badminton in India, and one question that keeps on popping up on social media is that who after PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal? They have been the flag bearer of women's badminton in India, or we can say badminton in general in India, but who after that?
Well, I think if you look at the performances, whether it's Srikanth and Laksh winning, or whether it's Pranoy and his wins, or Satwik and Chirag and their wins, I think definitely we have some good badminton players performing across. But if you're talking specifically of the women's singles, if you look at the next set of players, whether it's Malvika, Akarshi, or Tasneem, Unnati, Ashmita, they're very young. We almost have 19, 20-year-olds, so some of them are 14, 15-year-olds in that batch. So I'm expecting that in the next few years, we will have them come through the ranks. In the last 2 years also, the progression has been a little slow, not only in India, but across the country, across the world. If you look at the players from China, the same players have been continuing. Also the case with Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, or whatever. Because of COVID, the younger players didn't have a chance to compete, and that progression has been a little slow. But I do believe that with things opening up, and players getting a chance to play. This time also in the women's singles, we have about 4 entries
Right.
in and about 9 players in the top 100 of the world.
Mhm.
So I'm expecting that by the coming year, this questions will be answered.
Sir, coming to Satwik and Chirag, I mean, they lit up the tournament. Malaysia Open, we saw some of cracking rallies, some of the best rallies from Chirag and Satwik. How important is this India Open going to be for them?
I think they're a fantastic pair. They have the strength, they have the ability to really dominate world badminton in the coming years, and they have progressed very well.
Right.
And they're young and strong, and it's great to have that combination,
Right.
and that also the camaraderie among them. I think each one complements the other, and I do believe that they are definitely a prospect for the future. On this day, I would say they are amongst the real top. Yes, they still need to really win all the tournaments to
Right.
say that more consistently. But on their day, on any kind of format, any courts, any place, I think they have a chance against anybody in the world. They would go in as one of the favorites for any tournament.
And sir, years ago with your academy, you had this dream of putting Indian badminton in the world map. Now that you see so many players going for the podium, going for the medal finishes, how satisfying is it for you?
I think it's been a great feeling. I think from the day I started playing my first international to where Indian badminton is today, I think that transformation has been huge. In 1991, I remember all of us had gone to the Malaysian Open and lost in the first rounds.
Right.
Today, to go to those tournaments and be favorites and to be participating in matches in the last day of the tournament, I think it's been a remarkable turnaround for Indian badminton, which I'm really happy to see. So, myself as a player, as a fan, as a coach, I'm super excited and happy for Indian badminton.
And so the final one, in terms of long-term targets, have you set anything for the Asian Games or perhaps the Paris Olympics as well?
I think this year is going to be tough with so many tournaments. The Asian Games and the Olympics qualifications starting in the next couple of months, I think makes it very difficult. I think it's important that players just stay healthy, stay relatively injury free, and focused, so that we have a strong number qualifying for the Olympics. And I do believe that most of the events we have a chance for a medal.
So that was Pullela Gopichand ahead of the India Open that will start in New Delhi. Thank you so much for your time, sir, and keep watching RevSportz for all the coverage related to India Open. And don't forget to download our app from the Google Play Store. Thank you for watching.